All right, here we go. Episode 12, Dose, of the Hear Me Out podcast. I'm Eric.
Brandon.
Donovan.
All right,
Oh,
let's go,
With a
fellas.
T.
Let's start with what was becoming a great feature for us. What's the best thing that happened to you this week, Brandon? I think you got something.
Man, best thing that happened to me this week. Now, I think I mentioned it last week in the episode regarding a conversation I had with an officer from the Alpharetta Police Department. Well, I met with that officer today, Benny Sorrentino, and forming a partnership with him to volunteer to do some community outreach to help build bridges and tear down some walls. Really excited about that. We're going to be bringing some content to you regarding the programs. Going to loop you two into it as well. So go ahead and be ready to volunteer some time. Donovan might get some of that parole knocked down if you know go certain mark.
I'm talking about.
Anyway,
Let's go.
Anyways, good man. You guys know me. My whole thing is about building bridges and tearing down walls, and this is a great opportunity to do so. To walk it, not talk it. So here we go.
All right, that's good, Donnie.
Hey, I'm glad my boy B had a good week. No,
I needed a
yeah,
W too, bro. Let me tell you.
close a couple deals at work. You know, it always feels good to be on the board, especially early in the month. So you just want to maintain that momentum.
Mariano Rivera closing deals.
There we go. It's also the closer, Kobe, young Kobe. All right. Best thing that happened to me this week, man. I don't know. Like I just kind of been staying above water. Ah, yeah. Smack. No. Best thing that happened to me this
Edit
week
that out.
is well, I don't know if I consider it the best thing that happened to me this week, but I did get the first shot of
They didn't put
the
it right there today
coronavirus.
because we'll talk.
The coronavirus vaccine. So I got the Pfizer vaccine, and got the kids theirs as well. So they seem
For real?
happy. I'm happy. We got follow ups in a couple of weeks. Yeah. So shout out to Mercedes-Benz Stadium, man. Like they're making it happen. It's really quick. And Donovan, I appreciate you for putting me
Yeah.
on to that one. Big deal.
And they need to keep that same energy and get me out them Falcons games quicker too. Then they can figure that out.
Well,
They'll figure anything out.
You know that's the Atlanta United Stadium. I don't know if you've gotten hip to that yet. That is the Atlanta United Stadium for sure.
Yeah.
Shout out off the blank.
Oh, and also WNBA is having their draft literally right now, and the Atlanta Dream picked up Ari McDonald out of Arizona. So
I thought your daughter was like going professional or something. I was
Nah.
like, I completely misread that.
that would be Ari Brown. No,
I was like, Ari paying some bills.
she's an artist. She's not an athlete. So there we go. Yeah. So super happy about that. Okay. Got a couple topics we want to talk about today. First one on the agenda, Sergeant Johnathan Pentland, I believe is his name. Man, like absolutely thinks he's a tough guy, bullying a much smaller kid in his neighborhood in South Carolina. He got all up in his face. His wife was the one apparently that was doing all the dry snitching. She filmed it, and I guess she thought that her husband was in the right, was doing the right thing. So she filmed it and posted it. And I will definitely insert the clip here, so everyone else that's watching it can see what we're talking about.
Go away right now. Call the police.
Hey, they've already been called. They're just
I'm
waiting.
taking fights with who?
You know what? Maybe you should hang on a little longer. We'll
Let's
see
go.
how it goes. Then we won't have to get the report by
What
ourselves.
is it you're doing here? Walking.
Then
Then
walk
walk.
out.
Okay, and that's what I was doing. She came out of house. I ran
Well, you've been here like 15 minutes now.
Let's go. Walk away.
Keep walking.
Walk away. I already walked away. Walk away right now. You need help? You got this one, Kenny. I'm happy to help you. I didn't hit you. There's a difference between
Pretty
pushing
sure you were the aggressor, buddy.
You're aggressing on the neighborhood.
Someone came running.
Walk back.
You better walk away. You walk away. You talking to my wife right now.
That's your wife?
Walk away.
I didn't do
Walk
anything
away.
for your wife to speak.
Check it out. You either walk away or I'm going to carry your ass out of here.
Dude, if you touch
What do you want to do?
You better not touch me.
Or
I'm
what?
not arguing.
What are you going to do?
You up on me.
Let's go. Walk
I'm not
away.
upset. I didn't do anything to you.
I'm about to do something to you. You better
I
start
didn't do
walking.
anything to her. I didn't do anything to her.
You better start walking
So
right
when
now.
you come after me like that,
I ain't coming after
you're the one in the
you.
wrong.
You're in the wrong neighborhood, motherfucker.
I
Get
live
out.
here, sir.
Get out.
I live here, sir.
Where? Where's your house? What's your address?
Maybe we should walk you home.
Can't walk me home.
Well, you bet. You want to bet what I can do?
I live here, sir.
Okay,
Right
what's
now,
your
you're
address?
harassing the
I'm
neighborhood.
not harassing anyone walking through the neighborhood I live in, sir.
Where? But check it out. We are a tight-knit community.
Okay.
We
How
take
long
care
have
of
you
each
been
other.
here? How long have
A
you
hell of a
been
lot
living
longer than your ass, because I have never seen you before in my
How long
life.
have you been living here?
That's
Why
none
does
of
that
your
even
business.
matter to you?
How long have you been
It
living here?
doesn't matter. You know what? Get the hell out of my face.
You've been
Get out of my
living-
face.
You walked up to me.
Check it out, motherfucker. I ain't playing with you. You either get your ass moving, or I'm gonna move you.
You smell drunk.
You want to bet?
You are drunk.
I'm about to show you what I can do.
I would suggest that
You better walk away. Walk away. Walk away.
I'm walking. You keep following me, sir.
There's only one way out of here, and it's right over there.
There's multiple ways out of here, sir.
You want to bet? Walk away.
I've been here before this whole subdivision. was
Yeah,
built.
I know. Obviously, you've been harassing us for a while now.
Nobody knows you, sir. I don't even know your name.
Well, get to know me, because this is who I am.
Who are you?
It doesn't matter.
What's your name?
You don't need our
walk
name.
away.
But
Get out
Are
of
you an
here.
officer of the law?
I'm about to throw you out.
You can't. 'Cause
You want to bet?
Hey.
I can do a hell of a lot more than you think I can. Just move along.
Sir, you're acting like a child. Move on. Come on. You picked a fight with some random young lady that's one of our neighbors. Get out of
Then
here.
walk.
Nobody picked a fight when someone ran up
All
on
I
you.
heard was you fighting
Go
and her
away.
defending herself.
Fighting what?
Hey, come on. What's your name? Come on, you don't want no trouble.
Those people crazy.
Yeah. So, and then
But what's the update on that, though? What's the current update on
so
that situation?
the African American community, people of color, decided to show up and show out. They showed up to his house, Sergeant Pentland's house, the next day in force, and they wanted to talk to him, and it was amazing because the day before, when he was pushing around a much smaller kid, and he was all up in his face and pushing him. He had none of that energy transferred to the next day. I guess the roids had worn off or whatever. But the community showed up. They were on TikTok, and they were like, "Hey, like here's his address. Like everybody come through." And it looked like a few hundred people showed up to his front lawn, and so you know, he didn't come outside. He didn't want to play with anybody. And then I think one of the more interesting things is the commanding officer of Fort Jackson, who's a black man from South Carolina, tweeted that behavior was absolutely unacceptable, which I think prompted some state charges or whatever. So Sergeant Pentland was arrested yesterday as well. Or today, I think this morning he was arrested and charged with, I think, aggravated assault and a couple of other charges. And there's a possibility of some federal charges coming down. And what I heard also was that he and his family lost their off-base privileges. So they actually were moved from that house onto base, which I'm thinking they're probably not going to be happy with that one either. So that's my summary.
Cool. Let's talk about when I was asking you about the updates. I was hoping that you were going to talk about how the current story is that the young man had been walking around the neighborhood aggressively approaching people for about 15 minutes, and they told him to leave, and he wouldn't leave, and then they went and got him, and that's when the conversation started. And that the police have said that something is wrong with that young man, and they are working to get him in the proper place he needs to be and not in jail.
So you're telling me he was being aggressive towards a mentally ill person?
What I'm saying is this kid. So let me start. There's three sides. Well, here's three sides to every story. His side, her side, the truth. And my mantra is, I wasn't there, so I don't know. So if that's the case, I don't think he was being aggressive. He just told the dude to leave. And here's he told the dude to leave. He might use some profane words. The dude said, "I'm not leaving." So what happened was his wife was behind him. And then he stepped towards his wife. He stood in front of him. He pushed the kid. It was like, "That's my wife you're talking to." And then that's where he just pushed him that one time. And then it was like, "Leave, leave." He just pushed him one time. He was like, "Leave, leave, get out of here." And he walked up on him. And so, again, it's just hard to say. Like, once you hear the story that the kid was walking around for some time and walking up on people. I'm gonna say it. I did the same thing, and I'm gonna tell you right now. There was a story where my ex-wife and I, we were at the club, and this dude, we were walking and we were going to the little VIP section, and I was in front, and they let me through, and they stopped her, and I turned around, and this dude had his arm in her chest, and I turned around, smacked his hand out the way, and I tried to push him, but the dude was like 6'9", 350, and then all the bouncers came around, and it was a gut instinct of protect your loved one, not thinking that I literally was about to die that day, because the dude was fucking huge. But I didn't
LeBron
say
James?
And that's where it all
Is that where the LeBron hate come from? Got it. Makes all
but no,
the
real,
sense.
real talk on the story though. Once I saw that, it was just kind of like, because everybody was like, "Oh, the kid said he lived over there," and I was like, "Yeah, that's what he said." But you're right. He doesn't have to say where he lives. That he doesn't have to say that. But at the same time, I don't think he lived over there. So I think there's a little backstory to it. I mean, the sergeant was out there barefoot. He was cussing at him, using some profanity, trying to be a tough guy, trying to get him to leave. And that's what it was. This is what we saw, right? And the cops had come and didn't arrest him because there was no issue. The only reason they arrested him was because this video came out and they had to do something. It was like, "Oh shit, let's do something."
Well, here's the thing. The first question I was going to ask was, or first thing I was going to say is we got part of what happened, because that's what video shows, unless you see from the very beginning that there could have been stuff that occurred beforehand. And I was unaware of that, so thanks for filling me in. All right, so that was going to be my first statement. What happened to lead up to that point? And then my next statement was going to be, if that was the case, what you're telling me, if that happened, the way I would handle that is I would tell my wife to go inside the house where it's safe, because their house is right behind them. I would probably go inside the house as well. And then I would call the authorities and say, "Hey, I think there's a mentally ill person that's in the neighborhood that seems to be disoriented. It could be a situation. So let's call the police." That's the correct way to handle that. The
I
way
don't think that's the
Sergeant,
correct way. That's the way that you would handle it. It doesn't necessarily make it correct. And
no, it's the
nobody
correct
knew
way.
nobody knew he was mentally ill. Nobody knew that.
Well, so you just told me that he reacted that way because the guy was acting erratically.
No, that's not what I said. What I said was the police have said that they are trying to help him. Rather, the guy has something wrong with him, and they're trying to help him rather than put him in jail. So that's what they said. The police can't really disclose anything.
So why did the sergeant approach him like that?
That goes against HIPAA law. If they say, "Oh, he's mentally retarded, or he's got autism or something like that," that violates his HIPAA law. So what they said was there's something wrong, and they're trying to find the best place for him other than jail, is what was said.
Kid's not under arrest. The sergeant is for assault.
So you're not listening to what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you was the police said that they are there's something wrong with him. There's something wrong with the victim, and they are trying to find a place that's right for him other than jail.
So what I don't understand is, so this sergeant who approached this young man like that, so he wasn't doing so because he thought the kid was behaving erratically, or because he thought the kid was unstable? So if he didn't, why did he approach him the manner that he did?
So the understanding is the kid was approaching people in an aggressive manner for over like 10 to 15 minutes throughout the neighborhood. They were telling him to leave. This is all hearsay, right? But this is
It
all
is
what I
all
read on
hearsay.
This is what I read on TMZ. They had told him to
It
leave.
could be
He
the sergeant's neighbor too, trying to get him some slack as well. But I'm just gonna put that out there. See, now it is all
Say what?
hearsay. Could be
what?
the sergeant's neighbors trying to get him some slack as well.
I mean, they do it in the hood all the time.
Yeah. Well,
So what's the
once
difference,
again,
right?
just because it's
In
done
the hood,
doesn't make it right.
We can't talk about no snitching. There's no snitching goes in both communities. They don't just go in the hood.
No, I'm not making this about black or white. I'm making it about the way the officer approached that young man, and the reason why he got arrested because he put his hands on somebody. Once you put your hands on somebody, that is assault.
You'd have been in jail. You'd have been in jail. You'd have been shot. Just real talk. Like it's one or the other.
Been in jail. Yeah.
Okay.
The officer is facing discipline from the military and from the police because he reacted in a way that you don't react. And really,
No,
the
he
problem
didn't.
I
He
have
reacted the way
was
you do react.
He reacted in a way that was unbecoming of a person in the military, and that's what his commanding officer. That's what his commanding officer said.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think there's a right and wrong way to handle that situation. He's arrested because he put his hands on somebody, and yeah, the tone and some of the language that he used towards the kid to me seems slanted some kind of way. Now, being a family man myself, if I feel once again like my family is threatened, I understand what you're saying that you're going to try and intervene. But my wife sitting there filming it is not for her safety. Like he was showing out a little bit, whatever. He should have been in the house. She should have been in the house and called the police.
So the story goes, he was supposedly going around and approaching different neighbors in what they described as a threatening manner. Eventually, they said someone went to get him to step in, and that's how things picked up. And then it goes on to say the sheriff's office says this of the alleged victim. He apparently has some underlying medical conditions that might have affected his behavior that day, and authorities are working to get him the help he needs while trying to keep him out of the criminal justice system.
Well, hey, good job, the police department for doing that and recognizing that, and not compounding two bad decisions. But also, do you think that sergeant would have said that kid was approaching him in an aggressive manner? Probably so. So I don't know what that aggressive manner is, or was he just walking in places where other people thought he didn't belong as well too? There's a lot of.
Well, I mean, it's the neighborhood, dog. You know who lives in your neighborhood. You know who lives on your street. You know what I'm saying? Like, You know when somebody don't belong. You know when somebody's not there.
I mean, there's 300 houses in my neighborhood. There's 300 houses in my neighborhood.
Because someone is in your neighborhood and you don't know them does not mean that you can step up to them and tell them that they don't belong there. You don't know if they moved in yesterday. You don't know if they're visiting someone there. It does not even matter because it's not a gated community. And even if it is a gated community, you still don't have the authority to do that. That is not your job. His job is an instructor. His job is an instructor in the military. He's not on base. That's not his job. His jurisdiction is on base as an instructor. So if he wants to be police officers, there's tons of roles, tons of jobs open in policing. There's tons of jobs open to be officer friendly. That was not his job. So he's locked up. He's behind bars because he thought that he could talk to somebody,
it's third degree aggravated assault.
Talk to a smaller kid. He's going to be dishonorably discharged from the military because he was a tough guy. He's going to lose his job because he stepped out of what he was supposed to do in the wrong time. Now, if this was 2 years ago, he would have been just fine probably. But it's a new day. It's not happening for him today. Or whatever. So they're gonna make an example of him. The fact that the guy that's in charge of the base decided to step out and tell everybody on Twitter that was unbecoming of a person in uniform and no service member should do that. that's them. That's him putting them on notice that something's gonna happen. And if it's just a slap on the wrist, I would be shocked.
And
Man, I know both of y'all. And I've known both of y'all for 30 years. And I could talk about the times that we have gone in altercations and yada 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 over something very similar, protecting whether it be vehicles or just our friend if somebody's approaching or coming at us in a different manner. Like we would have done the same thing. And I think that's what people are missing. If somebody's coming in your neighborhood, coming at and you feel it's a threat to your family or your neighborhood, you're not just gonna sit back and be like, well, I hope we're gonna let him rob us, and then we're gonna do something. It was just
I'm
dude
gonna
leave.
call the police, man.
Dude leave. It was dude leave, man. So okay, so then they call the police, then he gets killed. Then you're gonna say, man, he could have just asked him to leave, man. He could have just talked to him, and that's what
You
he
didn't
was
just ask him
doing.
to, no,
That's
man,
what he was
no.
doing. He said, leave, man. You don't live over here. Go home. Get away from over here. That's what he did. And
You
the dude
don't have
stepped
the
up
right
on
to
him,
tell
and he
you don't have the right to come at somebody like that. I don't have the right to come at somebody like that. To Eric's point, it's not like you don't belong here. This
it's not
isn't
about it's not
private
about
property
having
that you don't belong.
it's not about having the right, man. Oh, now we going to that was me last week, right? Is it legal, right? That was me last week.
No,
What I'm
you got a
saying is,
line. Yeah, you got a line
what I'm
with
saying
reality.
is, okay, that's not what. Okay, I would do the same thing. You walk up on my wife, not my. I don't have a wife now, but
My
you walk
wife
up
would have
on
gone.
her, I'm
My
doing the
wife
same
would have
thing.
had half the sense to go
I'm asking you
inside.
to
First
leave,
of all,
and then I'm pushing you. Like I'm like, yo, that's what I'm gonna do. Like right or wrong, like you know what I'm saying. I don't know. I guess
and
I'm
I
not a
want to
tough,
add one more
and
thing.
I'm far from a tough guy. Far
We
from a
know.
tough guy, right? Like I'm like
We
Mr.
know.
Call the Police,
We
right?
know. We know. Bro. Don't worry.
Right?
Nobody watching this, none of the 26 other people watching this is thinking Donnie's the tough guy. So we're good on that one. Go ahead.
Right, but so what? Like Pharrell said, everybody has to play their part in this movie. This is my role. I'm gonna call the police, right? That's who I am, right? But at the same time, I might try to like, if I don't feel threatened, he's a kid, dude. I'm gonna go, hey man, what you doing over here, man? Like, leave, gone. That's all it was.
He did not approach him in that type of calm manner, dude. Don't even try and water it down. He didn't. It was
I'm
hyper
not
aggressive. Push him in the
leave, get the fuck
chest.
out of here, leave, motherfucker. That's how he
Yeah,
talks. So that's what
that's
he
not.
said.
Yeah, there are ways to de-escalate a situation that you believe is dangerous, and ways to escalate a situation. And he chose the latter, and that was the problem. And also, I want to add one other thing to the people that showed up. When I watched the videos, it wasn't just black people. I saw people of all color, which I thought was really dope. That people of all colors are coming together to try and stand up in these type of situations, or protest, or however you want to frame it. But yeah, I mean, do the right thing, call the police, or to your point, approach them in a way that de-escalates the situation as opposed to escalate the situation. Case in point, I was at Six Flags, maybe not last summer, summer before last, because last summer was COVID. But there was a group of young black kids that were causing all kind of trouble, throwing rocks at ducks, making all the little kids, including my kids, very, very nervous and whatnot, making a group of adults that were there that were older, very nervous or whatnot. I didn't walk up to them and say, hey, man, get the F out of here. What the hell you doing? I said, hey, come here, young blood. Let me talk to y'all. I said, man,
Young blood, how old are
I said,
you?
young blood. I said, come here, young blood. Let me talk to y'all. That's right. Because when you talking to 13-year-old, I said, come here, young blood. Let me talk to you. So I talked to him. I said, hey, man, don't throw the rocks at the ducks. Don't stir things up. This is going to lead to trouble, whatnot. They did. They looked at me, and I approached them in a very calm way, like, let me holler at you, And what they did, they said, all right, cool, man, we're going to bounce. It's cool. They left, and that was it. I didn't put my chest up in them. I am the tough guy of the group. I go ahead and say it. I didn't go tough. I didn't put my chest up in them. I just want to talk to them. There are ways to de-escalate the situation and ways to escalate the situation.
Now, if they had kept throwing those rocks or kept acting in that manner, and
Guess what I would have done?
hold on, because remember, we didn't see the beginning of the video. We don't know what happened. All we saw is that's where he's up at the point of escalation. Yeah. And the tough guy, if that continues and it continues in front of you after you didn't call him young blood, and they was like, we got you, right? And they was like, we got you, and they continue it. Is it still going to remain calm? It's going to be, hey, man, come on, man. Y'all doing the wrong thing. And then when they go,
people. I did what I could to try and take it down. I'm not going to get tough and start swearing at him. That's not going to do anything.
Hey,
he thought he was a tough guy. He thought he was a tough guy.
I don't think he thought he was a tough guy.
Walking
man.
up on a 150-pound kid. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
Man, hey, yo, I worked at Grove Park, yo. Don't sleep on 9-year-old, 12-year-old kids. Do not do that, because they will fuck you up.
All I know is that kid showed absolutely no aggression. No aggression.
Yeah.
Oh,
he walked in. He walked in multiple different directions trying to get away from him, and the guy pushed him every single time. He pushed him twice. He was going away from the camera. He pushed him. And then he turned back to come back towards the camera. He pushed him again, or whatever. The kid said, "Please don't do that." I mean, you're beating on you're bullying a smaller, weaker kid, or whatever. You're a bully. You thought you were tough, and had there been a man there his size, I guarantee you his punk ass would not have reacted the same way.
I'm sure he would have. He protects the country. He was out there barefoot. He was John Rambo. What you talking about?
He'd have went to go get a gun or something like that because he's not a real tough guy or whatever. You don't sit up there and bully.
What? Who owns a gun in this house? Who owns a gun in this group? So okay, so what you talking about? You would have gone to get the gun. That's what you got it for, to protect your neighborhood.
Oh, I have to
protect my house. You got a gun to go to the range and shoot.
It's in my house.
Exactly.
And just to let people know, it is in my house. But
what's your address? No,
never. It's in Milton, Georgia. You want me to yell it out? Yeah. All right.
I got 200 pounds of dogs right now. 300 pounds of dogs.
And criminals are more scared of dogs than they are guns. This is the real talk right here. That's what people don't understand. They hear a dog barking, they are gone. They gonna fight it out with you with a gun. They got guns. They gonna go to battle with you with a gun. But people not. They are afraid of dogs. They gonna run. They ain't gonna come to your house.
Yeah. Well, anyway, he was a bully, and looks like he's gonna get what's gonna happen. He looks like he's gonna suffer his consequence, whatever it is, or whatever. So whatever consequence it is he gets, I hope he enjoys it. I hope it was worth it.
One other quick thing, in given this week's multiple situations this week with Dante Wright and then the other serviceman that got pulled over by the police at the gas station and pepper sprayed. It's very easy to say, what if the police were called, then they would have shot that young black man. I don't want to make a statement like that or assume that would happen. There are several police officers that handle things the correct way. So we don't know what the action of that police department, and really seeing how they just responded in the press release they put out after this situation, they handled that correctly. So I don't want to make assumptions like that or say things like that.
They let him off until the video surfaced. Then it was like, oh shit, we gotta do something. You know what I'm saying? They came and investigated, and it was water in the bridge. Hey kid, leave. Go on, get up out of here. Boom, it was done. Right? Everybody had what they wanted. Everybody's alive. Nobody's in trouble. It's all good. And then next thing you know,
everybody did not. Everybody,
like, okay, we gotta go.
Everybody did not get what they wanted. That's not the truth. Okay. Right, it's disingenuous to say that.
Why is it not?
It's disingenuous to say that.
Why is it not?
Just because the white guy.
You think that young man wanted to go to jail?
Because the white guy got. I'll let you talk. Go ahead, talk.
Yeah, you think the young man wanted to go to jail? No, he probably was like over there, didn't have no business over there. He didn't get beat up, and he didn't go to jail, and he's alive. He got what he wanted. And the people that live in the neyborhood, he left. They got what they wanted. Cops have the rest of the fight. They got to do 2 hours.
I'm gonna let y'all.
So you looking at this backwards, saying that it was that you are. You're saying that kid was there to do something wrong. You have no idea what happened. You have no idea. You have the voice of TMZ, which is definitely journalism at its finest. Yeah. Everybody goes to TMZ for journalism.
They do.
So what you've got is some hearsay from people who were there that were part of the group with that guy that got in trouble. So you're listening to everybody that was part of that one little community, and they said, "Oh, he came up here and did all this to us." Or whatever. They didn't video any of that. There's no video of anything that he did wrong, or whatever. But the guy that got arrested, there's video of what he did wrong, provided by his wife, and the police saw fit to still charge him with what they saw, without knowing anything about what else happened.
They don't. What are you talking about?
Doesn't make sense.
The police came. The police went there, investigated, and sent everybody on their way.
so the police are perfect. They were like, oh yeah, we know exactly what happened. They didn't have any video evidence. They didn't have any video, as it states on the article from TMZ that you just brought
After they
up.
saw the video.
They didn't have any video evidence. That's what it says in the article that you just cited. They didn't have any video evidence. They went based off of what those people just said. And I will put the article in here to prove I'm not cherry picking stuff out of an article. You cherry pick stuff out of an article to make it seem.
So where do you get your intel from? You weren't there, so you can't say that. You got your shit
You
from an article. You got your shit from an article. What
You
talking
skipped
about?
information out of an article. You cherry picked information to skew the information in your direction. That again doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I'm using facts, and you are using a ridiculous reference point for
What facts are you
one
using?
thing.
What facts are you using?
You didn't.
Facts that you got all say TMZ, dude. Look at the credits. It's gonna say TMZ.
I'm just reading from the article that you were reading from that you skipped facts out. You skipped items out of so that you could cherry pick one
What did I skip out of? What
particular
did I
thing.
skip out of? What?
Well, hold on.
And
Let me do this.
correct me from the article.
I just did.
Right, what he's saying, you skipped. The
No, you
police
didn't.
department
What you
said
correct me from?
after
The police investigated and they left.
no, they
what the article
investigated,
said.
but he's saying, Donovan, he's saying the following day is when the police gained access to the video, saw what happened, and that's
So
when they
you
came up
mean
with
to
the
tell
charges.
me? So you're telling me in 2021 the cops didn't say, did anybody film it? Did anybody video it? Was anybody out here with a phone camera? They
They
didn't say
said when they saw the video, and it appears there's only one video, but
Okay,
when they
there's
saw the
more than one.
video,
There's more than one video, and his wife didn't shoot it because his wife was behind him, and obviously the angle is not from his back, so his wife didn't shoot it.
but anyway, Eric
But
is
we're
correct.
talking
That's what
about
they
things
said.
that we're talking about things that are irrelevant. We're talking about things that are irrelevant. The things
Why is
that
it irrelevant? I don't
who
talk about
shot the
anything that's
video?
irrelevant.
Who shot the video? That's relevant.
No, I'm saying when they saw the video, the cops saying when they saw the video,
So
that's when they took action.
if everybody from the neighborhood is a supporter of the old dude, why did they get the cops the video?
It says,
If anybody from the neighborhood did
Why did they get the cops the
it
video?
says, and I quote, RCSO notes that when the officers first responded, they were not aware of, nor did they see this video. However, after the clip eventually went viral, the agency says they passed their findings to the judge, who found sufficient evidence to bring Pentland in on an arrest warrant. That's what it says, right?
Ooh, you Mariano Rivera now. That's closing. You close that out.
We weren't.
That's
talking
what?
about-
That's
That's
facts. Big facts. No
That's
cap. All facts.
What we were talking when I was talking.
That you can't sign it for yourself.
I can.
No, dude. When I was talking about the video, when I was reading from the article, I was discussing that my point was that they were trying to get the kid some help that he needed. That was my point.
That's good.
That's why I talked about that, right?
That's
So
good.
Here's the thing. First off, we arresting people for getting pushed these days. That's what we're doing.
It's
Come on, y'all.
It's called
Assault.
assault, dude.
Okay.
It is assault.
All right. It is assault. It is assault without a doubt, 100%. And that's what we arrested people for.
If
I guarantee you, if you were to go around pushing somebody,
I
you'd be
won't
arrested.
So when somebody pushes you, you're
I
gonna file
won't
assault
put
charges.
I'm a tough guy. I don't have to worry
I
about
won't
it.
put your kid in this, but
Oh my
but I
God.
guarantee you, if somebody pushed my kid or whatever, and my kid's 18 or 19, sorry, if somebody pushes my kid, I want their ass arrested, guaranteed, 100%. Do I want to do something to them? Yes. Would I? I don't know. But what I do know is if I go outside of what if I go outside of what I'm supposed to do, I should suffer the
Face
consequences.
the consequences. That's the risk you take.
So he got to suffer the consequences. So whoever it was, his neighbor, his wife, his daughter, his kid, little kid down the street who videoed it, whoever it was, he can thank them for videoing his assault.
Good job to the local PD for handling that correctly. Doing their due diligence.
All right. I think we beat that dead horse to death again.
I'm gonna bring it up in 5 minutes just to get that.
Let's do it. Next, all right. So what if just switching gears? What if Buckhead becomes a city? We're talking about Georgia, Atlanta specifically.
They gonna bring back the chili pepper? They bring back the chili pepper, I'm down.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Don't do it, Striggs.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Bring it back. Bring it back.
Oh my God, we used to go Friday and Saturday, bro.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Today's old school Buckhead.
All right, but let's get into it.
How's there not a movie about that yet?
Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Don, you want to bring it up?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
No. So Buckhead, if Buckhead becomes a city, it's a wrap. It is a wrap for Atlanta, as you know it, right? So as what happens is Buckhead 30327 is the richest zip code in Georgia, which is where the heart of Buckhead is. If that becomes a city, a lot of the money is going to leave Atlanta public schools. It's going to become a real shit show. In addition to that, once that happens, it is then going to set precedents. Did I say that right? Not president, but presidents, whatever, for North Fulton to break away from South Fulton, and then we have a whole new Georgia.
You talking about the county split as far as all resources educationally or what?
Well, if it splits, then it's going to be educationally, because then it's going to be economical, right? So if you take away Buckhead from Atlanta, the money inside Atlanta is going to be reduced to nothing, right? It's going to mess up the school. Yeah, nothing. We're talking. Yeah, we're nothing. Who else is going to support it? Brookhaven is already its own city. Who else is going to support outside of Midtown? Midtown may help it survive a little bit, but it depends on how far those barriers go, because there's I guess a North Buckhead, which goes all the way to Sandy Springs, and then some people consider some parts of Midtown South Buckhead, which I had never heard that until a couple of years ago. So if they call that South Buckhead, like let's say it goes to the High Museum or around that area, a couple blocks up or what have you, it's a wrap for the tax base of Atlanta. And those people that are in that area of the Highlands and such, they're probably going to want to jump on board sometime, but it's going to end up taking money away from the city, which is then going to make maybe other smaller cities, like maybe in Virginia Highlands or something like that. And then it's just going to be a wash for what is known as Atlanta, because it's not going to be able to support the outside city, the outside of Atlanta.
Hey, man, hit that horn for me real quick. Episode 12, that dude came through with his most articulate point of the whole show. That was well done, sir.
Yeah, and thank you, sir. And they're definitely trying to separate North Fulton from South Fulton. And there's a huge economic base in North Fulton. They feel like their resources are going to South Fulton. And if that happens in Atlanta, I just think it sets it up to really divide North and South, and then it's a lot of problems. We have a lot of equity problems there.
I think that would cause a lot of equity problems. I live in North Fulton. I think it can be a slippery slope when you talk about splitting up cities or counties for revenue reasons or what have you. I actually live in the city of Milton, which was part of Alpharetta, that did a very similar thing. 2006, maybe 2009. Can't remember when Milton was established, but they did the same thing to kind of keep the resources in the area there. I don't know. I can't speak to how all the long-term effects that it will have. Obviously, speaking education-wise, having some type of limited background in education, I think that can have a severe impact on the dollars that are available for different programs that are used on the south side of town. So I think those are all good points. But once again, the chili pepper come back, I'm going to have to go ahead and vote for that split. Let y'all know.
So if we take it kind of point by point and look at it, what are the reasons why? City of Buckhead, why Buckhead is thinking of splitting off from the city of Atlanta? I think that'd be a. Let's see if we can get into that a little bit.
It's going to be about resources being stretched. I think Diamond brought up the point. I don't know if it was on camera or off camera. About the slow response rate, and there has been an uptick in crime in Atlanta. Hell, we're talking about all the shootouts at Lennox Mall lately, right? Lennox Mall turned into Greenbrier Mall overnight. Like, I don't know when that happened, but they're talking about the slow response times of police officers for crimes that are occurring in Buckhead because of the size of the area that they're covering. So if you do shrink that, then you have quicker response times for emergency just when they occur like those events. I think is one aspect of it.
Yeah, I think they're seeing what's happening in the other cities too, like the Miltons, the Alpharettas. Those towns are booming. They're becoming major spots for people to live in. I think Milton might be in the top 20 in the nation, places to live. So
Yep.
that's having a lot to do with it. So you have better your resources are going to be right there for you to use and not be spread out. Because for those of y'all that don't know, literally a Buckhead is going to be the economics and from Buckhead and the housing, the taxes from housing, which has some $10 million, $8 million properties, basically covers everything that is deemed to be. I'm not gonna call it the hood, but we're talking like Cascade, or I'm sorry, Keke, down to Lakewood, freeways, 166, Headland and Delow, and all that stuff. They're covering that because they fund it, which funds the city of Atlanta, which gives everybody resources. The different zones, zone 1 and zone 2 and 3 are heavily populated with police officers because that's where a lot of crime happens. But the houses might be, there's a lot of bandos, and you have lower house prices over there. So that's how it's going to affect the game.
I don't know, like having police officers living in the neighborhoods. It seemed like that would reduce crime, but apparently they don't do anything when they're off. Is that what you're saying? That doesn't make sense to me.
That's not what I said.
I mean,
it's not anything like what I said.
Okay, yeah, but
I just said zone 1 and zone 2, zone 1, 2, and 3 have a large, their precincts have a lot of officers and such there because there's a lot of crime over there. So then there's not as much crime in Buckhead, so you have less officers, or you might be the zone might be a larger zone. So for instance, I'll use schools for instance, and the people in Atlanta are going to understand this, right? Sutton Middle School zone is 30327, so all of Lenox, everything Buckhead, all the way to 30318. The Overlook used to be, which is Bankhead, the Overlook used to be part of the Sutton attendance zone. That because the people there go to private school, right? So then your attendance zones gets bigger. So same thing when you have a police zone, right? The zone's gonna get bigger because you don't have as much crime going on. So then the zone gets bigger. Whereas you have a smaller area in Bankhead Zone 1, they have a large police presence over there.
Yeah. So part of like, I think you're partially right, but I think we're missing a key. Like so last year during the civil unrest is what I'll describe it as over the past year. Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms persecuted, made sure that a few police officers that treated some kids that were going to school, treated them unfairly, pulled them out of their cars during all the unrest unduly for what she deemed as no cause. So they pulled them out, they pepper sprayed them, punched the kid in the face, a couple of things like that. And since then, city of Atlanta has been bleeding police officers. So the reason why the response time in Buckhead has been slower is because they're getting the same basic treatment as the rest of the city. Because they don't have as many police that they can stretch. So those police officers, there's less police officers across all of the city. So the response time has gotten to be slower because they're having to stretch them over the same exact, because Brandon says it all the time. They're not making any more land, right? They're not minting any more land. That's all that we have, all the land that we're going to have, right? So because they've got all the land that they're going to have, those numbers are dwindling and the response times are getting slower. And as response times get slower, criminals understand that they've got more time to do, people have more time to do the not so good things that they're doing, right? And that, I think, is part of it. And the way that we get to a solution, in my opinion, is not to go, oh, we're going to break off and have our own police force, because breaking off and having their own police force is not really going to help them. They're going to have a small police force, and I'm saying that because the city of South Fulton broke off from Fulton County or whatever. So they're now the city of South Fulton. So they broke off from unincorporated College Park, East Point, or whatever, and the total complement of people that lives in that jurisdiction is about 150,000 people, right? And then when you look at Buckhead, which is a much smaller locale, the total complement there is somewhere around 30,000 or whatever. So yes, higher wealth. There's higher levels of wealth there or whatever, but I don't see how they feel like they're gonna be able to protect that little area. They're not gonna be able to put a wall around it to keep people out. What should happen is, in my opinion, is that some of the funding that goes to all of the tanks and all the militarization of the police and things like that, all of that money should be given towards different types of social programs to actually help people so they don't feel the need to commit crimes. Because when people are given opportunities, when people are given jobs, when people are given the education that they need, when they have the ability to make a living wage and do the things that they really need to do for their lives and for their livelihood and to protect their families, they overwhelmingly do not choose to do the wrong things. So if we attack situations, if we attack, I mean that's just common knowledge.
No, you mean to tell me if everybody's got a job, nobody's going to murder each other? Murder, suicide, love triangles, and shit. Bernie Madoff and all the motherfuckers, they had jobs. That ain't got to do. They still commit crimes, man. It's going to be petty crimes, like
white collar crimes versus violent crimes.
You're saying there's not going to be any crime if people have jobs and stuff. I'm saying they had jobs.
There's nobody.
Crimes are still going to be committed. People ain't going to be breaking into cars and committing crimes.
Don't try this kind of silliness, man. That's a Republican tactic. You gonna try to divert me from an actual problem? Is that what you're trying to do? You're gonna try to divert me from an actual problem? That makes no sense. People aren't calling 911 because their 401k got raided. They're not worried about the response time. They're not worried about the response time of that, man. That's laughable. That's laughable.
It's not laughable. It's not laughable because you didn't say it. Though you said people don't commit crimes when the economy's better.
Man,
and I said
you're not Donovan. You're not that simple. You're not a human koala. Come on, man. You can understand. Koalas have very smooth brains. They're not very intelligent. See how I taught you something right there? Got it.
You look like a koala with the little brain right here on your side with the little thing.
So anyway, people aren't calling the police. People aren't calling the police for things like that. They're not calling the police for things like that. They're not calling the police for things like that. Come on, man. Go sit down.
They're not. You're immature, man. When people don't agree with you, you call people names. Let's talk about the next topic.
You could not handle the discussion. You couldn't handle it. You couldn't handle it at that.
What are you talking about? It was your point.
You couldn't handle it at that level or whatever. So now you want to change. Now you want to change the topic. So we'll change the topic or whatever to something that you think you'll be able to handle that you won't be able to handle this time either. You won't be able to handle it this time either. So the next thing is
MVP. Next episode, I need to be in the middle. So one of y'all could be West Coast, and one of y'all could be East Coast, or something. We'll just put me in the middle because this is getting out of hand here. I tell you, boy, it's getting hot. But once again, when I become the voice of reason amongst the group, bruh. like. So maybe that might calm both of y'all down a little bit.
Now we talking some facts. That, my friend, is
big
factual.
Facts.
All right, so
big facts. Okay. All right, NBA MVP.
LeBron James.
I love it. I don't know, man. I saw Embiid play today. I really think it's Chris Paul, man. I really do. That's what I'm feeling in my soul.
Yo, so I went from thinking Chris Paul was like, I'm not gonna say talented because he's really talented, but I went from thinking he was kind of a dirty player a little bit, kind of like overhyped a little bit because he always failed in the playoffs, to watching him once he left LA and went to Houston and got them until he got injured, got them on the cusp of going to the championship. And then we left Houston and went to Oklahoma and watched him drag that team to a respectable playoff. And then once I said, oh, he's surely done now, and watch him go to Cleveland, and there's no other changes other than him. And now they're second in the West and playing
Phoenix. Phoenix.
Phoenix. What I say?
Cleveland. I was
Cleveland.
like,
yeah, we know who paid your rent.
I was like, he's not in Cleveland.
Yeah. Anyway, my bad. I don't know where that came from. I
know where it came from.
But anyway,
LeBron James.
Once he went to Phoenix, I was like, you know what? This dude might be one of the greatest team leaders that we've seen in modern sports history across all sports. He's only averaging like 16 points, 9 assists, which is not whack. Certainly not MVP numbers by most years. But really, we haven't seen an impact of a small guard like this on a team since Steve Nash in Phoenix as well won back-to-back MVPs. Maybe back-to-back. Did he win 3? Might have been triple.
It was trouble because Kobe had some monster numbers and he still won. He robbed Kobe one time, but I think it was twice. But
anyway, man, I have a hard time with LeBron. Seriously, all jokes, with LeBron James being out, with Kevin Durant taking off, half the season like he do. Joker over in Denver is looking pretty good, but if I really had a vote, if it were really about who's the most valuable player to the team, and with his team being second in the West, it really should be Chris Paul.
Yeah, that's kind of why I brought up was Chris Paul, because everybody wants to tout the things that LeBron James has done over 3 different teams. Oh, he did it on 3 different teams. They only did it on 1. So to see in Oklahoma, nobody thought they would even be good last year.
No.
And Phoenix didn't even make the playoffs last year, and they actually have most of the same squad. Maybe got rid of 1 or 2 people, maybe 1 star, and then Chris Paul comes in. So that's pretty awesome for him to leave. Like you said,
changes the culture.
A team that did make the playoffs to the second in the West the first year is pretty phenomenal.
Crazy.
I did see Embiid play today, and I was impressed with him because he's like, nobody can stop me. He's got a lot of good numbers, and he's not just dunking on everybody like Shaq was. He's actually got some fadeaways and some shots. Yeah, he and Jokic. So, the point of me wanting to bring this up was it's not really about valuable. Sometimes it's about hype and other stuff, right? That goes along with that award. Because I don't think necessarily your boy should have won it. The Greek Freak should have won it last year, but sometimes it's just kind of like the Greek Freak, Giannis. Sometimes it's about who's popular and kind of keeping things along and moving things along on keep the needle moving, because it is a business at the end of the day.
I'm not giving anybody can't shoot a jump shot. That's crazy. That dude
LeBron can't shoot a jump shot. He just got a jump 2 years ago.
Okay, hold on. Look at numbers.
Say I'm lying.
Look at the numbers again.
Hold on. So everybody got a chance to say who they think should be the MVP. And Donnie said it's not about being valuable, even though it says most valuable player. That's what the V is. But I'm gonna say Steph Curry. If we're going with a non-traditional MVP for this year, if that's what it sounds like what we're talking about, I'm gonna say Steph Curry. And the reason why is because when I look at his value to his team seems to be garbage without him. Last month without him, they got beat by 58 points. They turn around yesterday with him. He scored 42 points. They beat a team by 38 points or whatever. That shift is definitely what I would call the Curry effect or whatever. I mean, he's definitely showing, the team win percentage, his share of wins or whatever is I believe it's the second, or he's first or second in share of team wins or whatever that stat, and then or total team wins or whatever. His plus minus is first. He's first or second in plus minus or whatever. So stat wise, his numbers say that he's had the last 2 games he's 40, or the last 3 games he's hit more 3-pointers than anybody in NBA history or whatever. I mean, again,
his team won't finish high enough, though. His team won't finish high enough.
So like I said, I'm just talking about if we're talking about most valuable player or whatever, to me, he seems like the most valuable player because of his impact on his team's team's winning percentage over this year. Now, Brandon, when you talked about Chris Paul, you talked about his percent, like the amount that he's shifted his teams over multiple years, over multiple teams or whatever. But I'm just saying that the impact that Steph's made this year for the Dubs has been something that to me puts him in that discussion.
Here we go with Team Light Skin again. We never saw. Here we go. Always Team Light.
I gotta represent.
Y'all didn't see this, but at the end of episode 11, he said Klay Thompson should have been the doggone MVP. He didn't even play this year, so we know it's Team Light.
Not true. Not true.
It's crazy. All true. Let me find the clip. Yeah. But no, yeah, Steph Curry's balling out, man. He's having statistically one of his best years.
Better when he won MVPs. Numbers are better.
With less threats around him. So yeah, he's a viable candidate for sure. But to Diamond's point, I think what's going to happen is Steph Curry's already had his rise and his glory in the NBA. Chris Paul, same there. I think it could be Embiid just because the NBA would need that. They need a star, upcoming star, to get that kind of shine, which is why, well, not why. Giannis had a great year last year, but also contributed, in my opinion, to why Giannis got it last year.
I don't.
So we all agree, Chris Paul.
Nah.
So, send me my ballot.
Right. Good luck getting that one. I don't know. I don't know about Chris Paul being the MVP. Embiid. I mean, I think he's got a shot at it, but I think they'll give it to somebody. I think they'll give it to somebody like KD. I think KD will probably get it. Somebody like him.
Ooh.
Probably Kevin Durant. I mean, I know he hasn't played KD. Kevin Durant.
Yo, James Harden's also balling out too.
Play like 10 games. Who?
Yeah, man. So yeah. It's gonna probably go to Embiid, man. Dude looks really good.
And actually, low key, Donovan Mitchell should have a shot at getting it as well. His team is balling out west, and he's the best player on that team, putting up crazy numbers, but nobody's talking about it.
Oh yeah,
and it's crazy.
And let's give a shout out to what's the kid Murray out for the season. Jamal Murray. Shout out to Jamal Murray, man. That's a tough loss.
He's a baller.
Kid's a baller.
Yeah, he's a baller.
Yeah,
I think he's a baller. I mean, he's very talented. He really balled out in the bubble. I didn't follow him that much this year. That bubble made superstars out of some people that I don't know. I don't know what happened in that bubble, man. I don't know if they were focused. They thoughts weren't no thoughts around. I don't know what it was, but there's some people in that bubble showed out.
So if anybody that's watching this is really interested in what Brandon said right there, you should definitely check out episode 11 where we had an in-depth discussion of the bubble.
The bubble. There we go.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man.
So hear me out. Episode 12. It got as hot as I Am Athlete in this one. Donovan, I still love you. You're still my brother. I still love you. He want to say all kinds of nasty stuff about me, but I still love my brother though. Still love him.
What you talking about? You argue like a woman, man. But you be twisting my stuff. I didn't even say that. You like he want to say nasty. I didn't even say that. It's all good. It's all love. I love you too, dog. Be all the good. Tell everybody I said what's up.
I can't stand y'all. Y'all take up all the airtime with that back and forth, and I'm really kind of salty about it.
Right. Get over it. Hear me out.
Corporate branding.
Episode 12 in the books. Like.
Subscribe.
Yeah. Here we out.
Yo, be kind, help others, make a difference.